Hello, I'm Mahin, and I'm joined here, and I'm very jealous of Sam. You played the Pokemon preview.
I have.
I've got many a question here. But start off with, what part of the game was it? Like, paint a picture for me.
So it was kind of near the beginning of the game. It wasn't the very start. So we already had like a team of 5 Pokemon that were around level 25. And it was like near the beginning of the game. So I think none of the story bits had been started yet.
Okay.
So we had, skipped some of the tutorials. So it's kind of hard to gauge like where it is because of the new sort of 3-way storyline now.
Did you get to do any trainer customization, or was it you just get given a...
So we all got given the same character, but like they initially were like, make sure you spend some time in the character customization. And it's genuinely the deepest it's been in the game. So you can like change your eyebrows and your eye shape and obviously skin color. And for the first time, nothing's gender locked this time. So you can choose like a male or female body, but then haircuts, clothes, you can just pick whatever you want.
I also want to dive into Mela and the villainous team. Did you bump into any of the villainous team at all?
So what I will say is that we got an hour with the game, which is not enough time.
Right.
So me and the other journalists were there. Obviously you can see what everyone's doing because we're all playing on big screens. And it was like, oh yeah, none of us got that close to any of the story. So the thing that really frustrated me about it was there's no quest log that I could find.
Oh yeah, that's weird.
So like the map is great. You can look at the map and like when you zoom out, you can kind of see like faces on the map. So you could see that there was like, I assume what were the gym leaders that haven't been announced and stuff. And then we had access to the grass gym, the star path, and the first of the Titan storyline. So I started the grass gym, and it was gave you the quest to find 10 Sunflora that were hidden around
like a little
the
gym
village.
challenge, right?
And I found 9, and then the time ran out. Yeah, so an hour is not enough with that game.
Right, that kind of reminds me of like Sun and Moon, where they had the little trials before you face the gym leader. So I imagine it's something like, maybe there's not like a bunch of trainers you fight before the gym leader. Maybe it's like a little puzzle and then the gym leader.
Yeah, I think it's a bit different, which is exciting. Like some of the Sunflora just let me like find them and then they would like follow me around, but some of them maybe battle them. So I think they've kind of try to mix it up a little bit, which is nice.
One thing that popped out to me during one of the trailers, that you see that challenge for a split second in one of the trailers, and you see a bunch of Sunflora chase the trainer, and it's a bit like the frames are a little bit off. So I wanted to ask, like, not just that, but in general, like, what did the graphics and situation look like? Was there any dodgy looking bits? Obviously it's a preview, but what did you get from that?
So overall it looked prettier than I hoped it would.
Nice.
It's got more textures in it, more detail than Legends Arceus.
Ooh.
But the frame rate is real bad.
Ooh, no.
Pop-in is pretty terrible.
Oh no.
And especially in the cities where like they've clearly tried to get more people in, but like if a character is walking in your sort of peripheral vision, they're like 3 or 4 frames per second.
Ooh.
Yeah.
How does that affect you? Is it something that you can ignore easily?
No, because like battles like Arceus, they happen exactly where you're standing. So like there'll still be kind of people walking around you, and like it's really distracting. And like you could kind of forgive it a little bit more with Arceus because like it was only really noticeable when you were like flying around. But obviously you're kind of given the mount Pokemon very early on, and so like you can traverse fly quite easily straight away and get on. You know, I was playing Scarlet, so I had whatever the red legendary is called. My mind completely blanked.
Miraidon.
There you go. So yeah, you can move pretty fast, and it really shows like how weak like graphically it is, which is really like, obviously there's time before the game comes out in November, but it wasn't the best visually.
Another thing I wanted to ask was about, like, so you were running around and the collectibles, like when facing Pokemon. I know there's like a whole system where you get stuff from beating Pokemon and then cash them in for TMs and stuff. Did you manage to do any of that?
Yeah, so it's weird, like when you catch a Pokemon, it'll be like, you've received some like hair or like feathers and stuff, and I'm like, how am I getting these off them when I'm just like, I'm not going to question this too much.
They just fell off naturally.
just you know, like my cat, he molts, right? But yeah, I didn't get a chance to dive into the TM crafting. I think you can do it at Pokemon centers, which are like everywhere in this game.
Ooh.
Which was like a complete revelation to me.
Yeah.
Because usually you have to travel to a town, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But they're kind of just like almost like petrol stations.
Wow.
Or like gas stations. Like
they're quite accessible and quite easy to find. That's good.
And they're like kind of neon looking, big sign with big Pokeball. And there's like a little shop. Obviously, like you Pokemon.
Yeah.
Healing, but also that's where you can like launch the co-op and stuff from.
Did you get a sense that like for how many Pokemon centers are dotted around everywhere, do you have the feeling that this is the kind of game you will like find it really hard to die because there's always like a Pokemon center nearby?
Yeah, I think you'll be less reliant on potions, which will be great. I think the problem is like people have critiqued the most recent games for being too easy,
I'm
and
one
I feel
of them.
like
I'll hold my hands up.
Yeah, I feel like this isn't going to help that.
Really? Oh no.
But also, I feel like there's so much that I enjoyed about it, and so much that feels kind of revolutionary. That maybe hopefully people will forgive it. I don't know. Maybe you just not go to the Poké Centers.
I might ban myself to like a few Pokemon centers a day.
But it's interesting because like healing your Pokemon also charges your Terastallize core.
Okay.
So like you can use it at any point in any battle, but I think it like runs out.
Okay.
I went to the Pokemon Center a few times. Obviously, didn't do that much battling to kind of really test how it works. But I know we managed to do a 4-player Terastallized Raid, which was great.
Nice.
We were the first team to beat a 4-star one, which they were very impressed with. So I still have my Pokemon crown, which is very good. But you had to do 3 attacks to charge it to be able to use it in the use Terastallization, if that's how you say it. I feel like I'm saying it wrong. Terastallize or whatever it is. So you had to use 3 attacks to be able to unlock it in that. But like a normal battle, you can just use it whenever you want. But
I see. Okay.
When I went to Pokemon Center, it was like, oh, your core has been charged. I'm like, okay. What does that mean? Does that mean it's like eventually it runs out? So I'm very intrigued to see how that mechanic evolves.
Yeah, I want to know more about the Tera raid battles. So like you can attack whenever you want?
Yeah, so it all happens in real time. It's not turn-based anymore. You just very much like Pokemon Go raids where like you're just going and like you can also cheer the other people.
If you're dead,
which but even if you just like want to just
okay, what
cheer,
does that do?
So it can heal the Pokemon.
Yeah.
It can give you like attack boosts and stuff like that. So it's quite valuable. So like 3 of us attacked, and then the 4th player, who was one of the Pokemon devs, like he was just cheering us. So like we were attacking and he was cheering, and it was kind of like, oh, actually this is really nice because like it encourages you to like really communicate and like work together, and it was cool. And it's on a timer as well, like Pokemon Go raids. You don't defeat the Pokemon by the end of the timer, that's it, your battle's over. And then you get the chance to catch it, and apparently you can fail, so
oh no. With these co-op people that you were with, did you do anything else co-op?
We just had a wander around the town, and then you can basically do whatever you want. You're not tethered to each other. You can just, I mean, obviously it would be a bit weird if you went into a co-op game and then went separate ways. But you can go shopping, you can do gym battles, you can do like, we just explored together. It was kind of like at the end of the session. So we ended up having like races on our mounts and just like having a laugh. You can take selfies together.
That is great.
Emote. So yeah, and you can get like your Pokemon in the pictures with you and stuff. So I think it'll be really fun. But
I've got so many questions about the co-op, only because me and my buddy really want to do one version of the game all together.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Like, how far away, like when you split, if you were to split up, like how does that, do you know how that works?
Apparently you can just go.
Be in each other's worlds forever kind of thing. That is really interesting.
So. Like we obviously were limited to a section of the map, so
right, of course.
We didn't go too far away from each other. But they, according to the devs, you can go. Yeah. You could go to the opposite side of the map if you wanted to.
Interesting. So in the short amount of time that you got to play, did you have any sense of? I know you said there was only one gym leader, but from other things, did you get a sense of like maybe personally how you would tackle going through different gym leaders in whatever order. Did you get any sense for that kind of thing?
No, not really. I think what I will say is it isn't as open world as they say it is.
Okay.
Like when I went to the big city that was in the area we were allowed to explore, there was a loading screen between the outside and the city, which feels
interesting.
quite old school open world, sort of more like Skyrim.
With it being so open world, like when you were going from like when you were in the open area, was there actual stuff to do, or was it a lot of nothing? Do you know what I mean?
So there was all the sort of traditional catching wild Pokemon. And, interestingly, you know, in a traditional Pokemon game, when you walk in front of a rival trainer, the battle instantly starts. Doesn't do that anymore. You have to go up and talk to someone to trigger a battle, which I'm not sure about. Like, I'm just like, I quite like it if you're just like, I just want to get to this place and, you know, ride there. But yeah, like I think apart from like trainer battles and like there are, you know, Pokeballs and stuff on the ground and stuff, but and the options to do the raids, but apart from that, not sure. But obviously there are little towns and stuff along the way, but yeah, I didn't get a great sense of like, you know, there being like hidden puzzles or other things to explore. There was like a cave I found, but like
I think a lot of people are always going to compare, especially a Nintendo open world game, to something like Breath of the Wild, and like how often there is like enemies and different things happening and going on. How much of this was like inspired by Legends Arceus?
I feel like there's definitely like a linear through line, right? Like it definitely feels like maybe the two games were developed at the same time, and you know, this is like the next evolution of that. I think the graphics are going to suggest that maybe the game needed a bit more time. I'm the biggest Pokemon fan, like, and I loved Arceus, but this feels like it needs
a bit more time in the oven.
A bit more time in the oven. I just feel like people are going to notice the pop in, and you know, because I feel like Sword and Shield, it was kind of you could kind of get away with it a little bit more because it was like less obvious, but this is so obvious. I think it's going to be distracting.
I think Pokemon have had that a lot, especially even just with the 3DS Pokemon games, where like, you know, if there's a double battle going on, the 3DS would drop frames, stuff like that.
Well, that's even in the Sunflora battle. Like when I just started battling one of the Sunfloras, it was almost like, you know, when you get a Pokemon down to like low critical health and they're like, I'm just going to slow down in terms of how it was like that from the beginning in the battle, and I'm like, well, surely the game should be prioritizing the thing that you're directly looking at.
Did you manage to do any of the Nintendogs type elements, like playing with the Pokemon and watching them or whatever?
I had a little picnic.
Oh my god, tell me all about it.
You can like throw a ball for them and they go and fetch it, which was nice. The interesting thing about it was like, I didn't manage to make any food because I didn't have like ingredients, but I went to like an ice cream stand and bought an ice cream, and there was loads of different flavors and they all had like perks. One was called like teensy or humongous or something, and we were like, what the hell does that mean? When we asked the devs, it was like the food that you eat as a group then impacts the kind of Pokemon that appear in the wild. So there may be like the humongous perk was like it will make bigger Pokemon of a certain type appear, the bigger versions of them, or the teensy one was like, you're going to get small versions of these Pokemon. But I think it also can affect like the types that appear. But my mind's a mess after that. I don't know if I'm happy or sad or maybe a mixture of both. But then I felt the same, to be fair. Like, I came away not knowing. Like, I think because there wasn't that long with it, so it was like very early sort of impressions were like, I'm not sure how I feel about it yet. So we'll wait and see until November 18th, I guess.
Yeah, and this is only a preview, so everything crossed that you know it will improve graphically and stuff. But also, who knows? I might love it. Thanks for chatting with me.
You're very welcome.